Hello indie game fans and welcome back to I Dream of Indie. It is I, Old Gamer Joe, back with another review for you today. We're looking at beautiful 3D adventure puzzle game Ever Forward. This title was developed and published by Pathia Games and it is available now on Steam PC, normally priced at $14.99 here in North America, but at the time of this review there is a bit of a sale going on that brings it down to $13.49. If you are interested in the game and happen to be watching this review close to release, be sure to take advantage of that. Ever Forward tells the emotional story of a young child named Maya. Her mother Anne is the central adult figure in her life, but is constantly consumed by her work schedule, which becomes even more burdensome when her company faces a communication infrastructure issue. This puts everything into disarray. This leads to Maya being paid even less attention to than she already was, so with nothing but time on her hands, Maya has invented a really neat little robot called BountyBot. As you play more and more and unravel more of this story, you'll go deeper and deeper into the imagination of the lead character, Maya. In terms of gameplay, Ever Forward feels pretty fresh and exciting in some ways. Most of these puzzles involve you getting a cube-like object from the beginning of an area and bringing it to the end. Of course, it wouldn't be much of a puzzle game if it was as simple as walking the cube over to the exit, so you'll need to avoid sentry bots. When these bots catch you in their vision radius, you'll be transported back to the beginning of the puzzle. I did find that some of the solutions came quite easily in Ever Forward, while others required good attention to detail and serious thought. You may have to toss a cube behind a sentry, for example, and then quickly sneak around it while the robot is still distracted and looking the other way. Timing can be critical on some of these puzzles depending on the situation, and as you might expect, these puzzles will ramp up in difficulty the further you progress. Eventually, you'll also be dealing with teleportation devices as well as some light timing-based platforming. You can also use your robot to fly around to other areas at certain times, though I do wish more of the puzzles in Ever Forward had integrated this as a method of solution. Instead, the majority of flight only serves the purpose of getting you to the next area. That said, most of these puzzles felt pretty clever and not overly difficult to figure out. I enjoyed the fusion of stealth mechanics with basic puzzle design. Having to hide behind pillars, for example, can lead to some surprisingly thrilling moments, and while I wasn't completely grabbed by the game's storytelling, it was at least interesting enough for me to want to see what was going to happen next. The cutscenes between puzzles, as well as the travel sections you'll find yourself in during the game's more open segments, do help to give your brain a little bit of a break. Graphically, I thought Ever Forward was really beautiful actually, particularly in that overworld. Lush, vibrant trees inhabit the area, only bogged down by some unfortunate performance issues which made the frame rate feel a little bit inconsistent at times. This seemed to persist regardless of the graphical settings that I would choose. Still though, this is a beautiful game in motion, and while the puzzle sections are a bit bland and lifeless in comparison to the overworld, I still found the overall aesthetic of this title quite striking. The soundtrack of Ever Forward is equally beautiful, featuring stirring strings and gorgeous pianos. I caught myself on more than one occasion hanging around in the overworld just to listen to these wondrous melodies. From top to bottom, outside of those technical hiccups that I mentioned, and some pop-in from time to time, I thought the developer created a really lush and inviting world. Ever Forward is a fun, beautiful, and satisfying puzzle game that is unfortunately a bit on the short side. The technical hiccups are a bit of a letdown, sure, considering how gorgeous this game can be, but the puzzle elements are well thought out and mostly a joy to try and figure out. I wasn't the biggest fan of the storyline or the ending, which left me scratching my head a bit, but that said, Ever Forward does pack an emotional punch here and there and should please puzzle game fans looking for a short but unique experience. Will you be checking out Ever Forward? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you did enjoy our coverage today, consider hitting the subscribe button. Help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. There's a ton of other ways that you can support I Dream of Indie, including becoming a member or checking out our merchandise store. However you end up supporting us, we thank you so much for doing so.